Let's go. Teotihuican. Yeah, I can pronounce that right. City of the Gods, Deluxe Master Set. Board and dice. Great game. People really love it. Dice worker placement. Fantastic elements. If you like that sort of thing, right? You're taking your little dice, you're moving them around the outside. Depending on the number, it gets how many resources. You've got a couple expansions to go along with it. You've got some promos thrown along the way. You're going to get a new 5th player expansion because in case this game wasn't long enough for you already, you're getting it. And you're getting a whole, revision of the artwork to make it look even better. I mean, it's kind of drab, to be frank. And I can say that as someone who actually, I know this is going to surprise a few of you, I've played it. I used to own it. I traded it away. My wife didn't like it. And, it was a little dry. It was a little longer than what I wanted it to be at that time. Why are we starting out spicy this week? Because freaking 2018 was when this game was made. 5 years. 5 years we're getting a new edition, right? You know why we're getting a new edition, though? Because of the cash. I mean, I can't blame them, though, at the same time, right? We're seeing these deluxeified euros come to crowdfunding, raise hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and when you don't even have to put out a new product, and you can get people to buy something that they've already bought, why not? Right? I can't argue with that. From a business standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, we need to check ourselves at the door. Again, try not to buy games you already own. Putting that out there. Putting myself first and foremost on that. It's happened twice in my career. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. Anyway, but that's why you're getting Teotihuacan, right? What else are you getting? I mean, and they say it right here at the top, like a bunch of new stuff. I mean, it's a great game overall. People love it. Well, you're getting deluxeified. You're getting a 5th player expansion. And if you're missing some of the promos, you can get that too with an insert. Do you want the deluxeified? Did I mention deluxeified, folks? That's what this is. But this is also 120 euros for a game. Are you ever going to play this with 5 players? If you're not playing it with 5 players, you shouldn't back this. Put that out there. That's my strong opinion right there. If you are, great. If this is one of your favorite games, great. But, I mean, yeah, it's prettier. This is kind of like, so far, Castles of Burgundy, the reprint there, only with less new stuff. You get all 3 of the expansions here as well. I mean, yeah, maybe you're going to save yourself some money. Yeah, if you would buy this all separately, non-deluxeified, it might cost you about the same. Yeah, it's going to cost you more on the secondary market after the crowdfunding campaign. But are you playing this game a couple times a year? Are you playing this game consistently? Are you playing this game 5 players? That's what you need to know. And again, I mean, I don't know all the expansion details. I've only played the base game, and it works. It works. It's a solid game. I know why people love it. I know why people really enjoy it, and the expansions add more stuff that people like. I mean, that's what expansions do. They make it better. And this is the new thing right here, the new priests. And I think there's like a new promo as well. But that's actual new gameplay content. The rest is deluxeification. Can you spend $150 on this? Because that's probably what it's going to run, shipping included by the end here. It just is. Are you okay with it looking prettier? And a lot of people, as we saw with Castles of Burgundy, although Castles of Burgundy had a lot of out-of-print, hard-to-get expansions, so I can't argue with that one as much, getting some extra gameplay there, but this one, not so much. You're just getting some of the other stuff. Not that you need a whole lot of more on Teotihuacan, right? I mean, it's a known property, and that's both why I'm surprised it's not getting more, but also I can see why it's not getting more. You're not incentivizing people enough from a gameplay standpoint. And I hope people keep voting with their wallets from a gameplay standpoint, as much as occasionally I like a deluxeification. But you have to give me a reason to get it. And if you really are a true fan, doesn't get the 119 euro dollar pledge, folks. A true fan gets the 180 euro pledge. Think about that. Anyway, beauty pack if you want, double-sided playmats, all this stuff. I mean, again, I can't argue with the actual game itself. It's fine. But the stretch goals even here are just more deluxeifications that I'm almost guaranteeing that they were planned initially to begin with. So no gameplay content there, which again is fine because you don't want random gameplay content in your heavy euro, but it also doesn't entice someone who's looking at it from a gameplay only standpoint to get in on this. And maybe that's why you're not seeing this be as high as maybe expectations were, which is kind of interesting because I always wonder about internal versus external expectations on a game like this. But $300,000 by the time you're viewing this is still nothing to laugh at. Speaking of things, though, well, that's stupid. I don't want Kickstarter improving. Get out of here, Kickstarter. You're drunk. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Anyway, Weirdwood Manor. That was my pick of the week last week. Prototype just showed up earlier in the week. It's going to be out before the end of the campaign. When, though, we're going to kind of have to see. But 1 to 5 player cooperative strategy and time battling game. One of 4 different monsters, at least in the rule book as it states, that you're going to be going up against in a time-based navigation system over 12 days. Each of those days having 4 separate elements of the day. And you're going to be action manipulating. You're going to be time manipulating. You're going to be moving in back and forth in these round areas that are going to represent the manor itself, attacking, defending, trying to knock down the boss to 0 health points. But if you run out of time, you lose. So that's what you need to know in the bigger picture of what this game actually looks like. And you have this intersecting map that sort of rotates as you move it around to track the days, but also to move from area to area. Each of your areas in these rooms in the manor are also going to have different actions and abilities that you can utilize to the greatest of your extent. Theme, mechanics, challenge. Okay. I mean, why back now? I mean, they're giving you, as a smaller indie publisher, you're going to get some better content. You're going to get the stretch goals. Pricing is going to be what it's going to be. These are mixed from that side of things, never knowing if it's going to be slightly better, slightly worse. Planning, taking your actions, you have a bunch of optional actions, then you have your main action that you have to take as well, which is going to be playing a card. And the nice point is, with a lot of these Pandemic-esque style games, you don't have to do it in a certain order. You can take your main action before, after, between, however you want to do that. Mashing icons, as well as going to give you bonus actions, and they run you through a little bit of the resources and the management of these actions that you're going to be doing as you go along. Growing stronger, monsters going back and forth, and everything you need to see. Not everything. My video's not up there yet, but you can check out the rulebook. And the rulebook is definitely something you should look at, though, because it's hard to encapsulate the potential for this game just on a description alone right now. Take all the videos. You can get all the other content. They're more useful than my stuff ever is, so take that for what you will. There is an early bird pledge down here, limited by number, it says, actually. Let's see if there's actually spots here still. Standard edition, deluxe edition. I didn't go down this far on the page, to be frank with you guys. Completely transparent here. Retailer pledge. Oh, all gone for the early bird pledge. So, okay. You know, I know people get turned off by that. So it's always a big, hit or miss depending on how you feel if you just didn't look at it quick enough. So, I have no idea. Price-wise, value-wise, gameplay-wise, I mean, I think you got to look at this point and see. I love the standee look, though, with the bad guys here as well. And then, okay, what else are we getting with the deluxe? You're getting acrylic standees. Acrylic standees and wooden tokens. And, oh, that's nice, though. I like that. The mini expansion is going to be included regardless of the pledge level. So, a little bit of gameplay content down here with some stretch goals. And I don't really know what they were expecting. I think they were pretty nervous when they were talking to me before the campaign launched. So, killing it, actually. You know, the fact that this one has $130,000 right now, almost 200,000 Canadian. If you had told me at the beginning of the week that this would have half at the time of me filming this of what Teotihuican had, I mean, that's impressive. I don't care who you are. So, there you go. Thread of Fate, a Puzzletale. Well, this is sort of a new Puzzletale, sort of not. The Tale of Ord, basically remastered. And they actually make a nice disclaimer here. This is a big, expensive puzzle room escape box style game, right? With like, I think 4 big puzzles, they say. And so it's going to cost you a pretty penny. And that's the question, right? Like, can you pay a higher price point for a little premium edition of puzzle box escape room style things versus like 4 of those like adventure style games, which are going to cost you less than $50? And I mean, each time I cover these on crowdfunding, they never fail to like exceed dramatically their funding goal. And this one is no different at almost $90,000 by the time you guys are watching this. The tricky part with these is you either have to go off of gut feeling of, am I going to like this? Or some pedigree of what they've put out in the past. And there are very few reviews of Tale of Ord on Board Game Geek. The ones that are there are relatively positive, but they make it very clear on this page that, okay, this is what you're getting. 4 chapters, 2 to 3 hours each. About 10 hours, okay? But this is not going to be dramatically different if you had the previous one. If you had Ord, you're probably going to get a lot of the same stuff. You're really not probably going to get your money's worth. So $86 is going to get you what it would be at retail. So getting a few deluxeifications here with the stretch goals. And again, it's tricky because on a game and a campaign like this, you can't really offer a whole lot of details of, hey guys, this is what you're gonna actually be doing. Hey guys, here's some spoilers, right? Like, people don't want it with this type of game. So that's why I have such a hard time looking at this and judging it one way or the other. But they say flat out here, now I wish this was at the top. This should be at the top if you're gonna tell me this is a second edition, right? Improved puzzles, graphic design, narrative. I mean, so not necessarily gameplay content different. So take that for what you will. Shipping's going to be there. I mean, you're going to pay $100. Can you pay $100 for this? It says $6 off of MSRP. I have no idea if this is going to be available at retail. So your mileage may vary. Take it at your own risk. Paperback. You know, this is another small little mini rant at the beginning of this one, right? Like, literally, I found out that this was launching like Sunday or Monday of this week. And Fowers, man, you got a good product. People like your products. Give a little bit of hype. There's such thing, as you heard me mention a little bit yesterday on the news video, maybe, you should check that out if you haven't, that putting it out too far in advance is a little bit, also not a big fan of that, but there's appropriate time for marketing. 2 or 3 days before your campaign starts, though, is a little bit cutting it close. Paperback, and they're going with a new game called Typewriter here. It's a reimagined, deluxeified version of Paperback, speaking of deluxeifications, right? And Typewriter, which is kind of taking a different slight spin on the word style game. And transparency being what it is, I'm not a big fan of word games, folks. I've gotten 2 or 3 in my collection over the years, and I've gotten rid of them. I just don't do that. And my mom was an English teacher, right? Like, I can spell any words you want for me. I have no problem with that. My English language skills, syntax, grammatical pronunciation's a whole thing, but grammatical vocabulary is actually really good. I say too many big words on this channel all the time, and people like laugh at me in the comment section, but it doesn't stop me from saying them because I'm eloquacious. I think that's rightly used there, but don't look it up. They're giving you a new one here. 10th anniversary of Paperback. New starting decks, more decision, more variety, unique tech trees with this genre mode that they're giving you, simultaneous play, and they're just basically allowing you to play it in whatever way you want, as well as a new solo mode. Typewriter here, you're getting these individual letters that are going to flip over to give you a different letter on the other side, but sometimes there's going to be keys on the other side. How you're going to be taking from the center a mutually shared vocabulary, or really letters that are going to be available, including vowels, and having to do certain lengths or in certain scores, and flipping them after you use them all. So a different side of letters that you're going to be going back and forth with. I mean, if you like letter games, there's probably not a better company out there that makes word scramble style games. It's just, are these all different enough that you feel like the need to own them all? So apart from that, yeah, the rules are on here. The art looks fantastic. Does it need a revision? Sure, we'll go with that. I don't know. But this is why it's out there. You check it out. They show you a little bit of how Typewriter is tracking down here with the different colors and how you get to use them, and then flipping them over, and a few videos as well to check it out, new and old. So yeah, Fowler stuff tends to be relatively decently well priced on the crowdfunding campaign as well, and higher at retail in general. I'm looking at more like the Burgle Brothers style of things, and that's tend to held pretty true with that as well. So I'll go with it. Opinions, right? Next up, we're doing my other pick of the week, Pioneer Rails, network building, flipping right. And this is another one that I said, okay, flipping right, rolling right, what's it going to fund? I mean, it's got $22,000 already in the first week. So I have to feel like, again, I predicted this was going to be $100,000. And if they do that as a flipping right, it reminds me of Postmark Games' like Aquamarine. And it's other one that I'm completely blanking on. But it just gives good vibes, right? And they're doing a printed version of it. Now, you can buy the print and play, but the printed version is only going to cost you $24 here. And if you go down, you can get a little bit of the base game as well as the Essential Edition. The Essential Edition is going to cost you $6 more. There's no reason you wouldn't get it at this point at that $6 more, because you're getting 2 little expansions that go along with it, as well as the stretch goals. I think the stretch goals are included in either one, but the stretch goals are also giving you a new map as well. Essentially, what you're doing here is you're train building off of one of the 4 suits. You have 20 different cards, each representing like the 5 face value cards of a normal poker deck, and you're going to be using those cards to simulate actions that you're going to be taking off of the suits to connect all the various places on the flip and right boards, as you see here. That's the gist of it. And designers from the sides of Guild of Merchant Explorers, Voyages. I love Voyages. That was the one I just couldn't think of. Voyages is an amazing game. I think Voyages and Guild of Merchant Explorers are very similar, but Next Station London too. So, I mean, it's got good pedigree. So if you have any interest in this like me, well, you should be doing it. And I apologize to Dronda Games again, because I completely missed it when they sent me a message about covering this, because I should have covered this. And I feel like an idiot oftentimes when I miss those. Speaking of one of those, there will be another one of those in this video too that I'm going to be doing a mea culpa. They run you through the gold cards, the company's expansion here that you get in the Essential Edition, as well as the Joker expansion. So again, like 2 cards and a couple cards. So it's not like huge or anything, but for $6 you might as well get it, because those I can see being easily incorporated, not like a usual expansion that never gets incorporated into the base game and you play it like 2 times and then you never see it again in the back corners of your shelving unit. But I'm not talking from experience here, am I? Yeah. So a few of the stretch goals as well, a few of the company stretch goals here from a social standpoint, and Dronda, there you go. Simultaneous turns, how you're going to be doing it, and everything you need to know right here. Short and sweet. Like it. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a good game. You can't really screw these up, especially with people playing them beforehand. So you're scoring your goals. It reminds me very much of a different thematic incorporation of Voyages in the Old West. So I see that. Solo mode, great. If you want to play solo, these play easy. Rulebook is right there. It's going to be in a bunch of different languages as well by the time it ends. But by the time it ends, and there's a whole bunch of other people here talking. I could have had my video on this page, but I screwed up because, again, I'm an idiot. So thank you, Dronda, putting out a good product. Check it out if you're interested. If you're not, I mean, this roll and write's not going to suit you any more or any different than some of the other ones are, but that's, what you get with these, and they're easy to play. And the pay-to-play ratio on these games is insane. It's better than anything else in your collection, which is why I like Aquamarine and Voyages. Anyway, but that's a whole nother issue. Now, I think I heard some rumblings online, though, that they were debating about putting up dry erase ones as stretch goals or dry erase ones as add-ons, which would be really nice. I'd like to see more flip and writes if you're going to print them and not just do people's at-home print and plays. And that was the benefit of like Aquamarine and Voyages, right? That you can just print and play and I can laminate it and do that way. Like, and you can do the same thing here as well. But I'd love to see more of that from like my let's make a bus route style of things, because people can do it and you should do it, because it's nice not to have a pad of 80 as well. So anyway, side ramble there. Next up, Vesuvius Media, we have To Glory, which is sort of a dexterity-based exploration style game where you're basically these little standy cardboard ships and you're moving across the hex-based grid, and you get 5 actions per turn to basically hit little wooden cubes off of the side of your rails of your ship at other ships, and if you do, you score gold, and the most gold at the end wins by the time someone's picked up their second treasure. That's it, right? You get 5 actions, you get a bunch of moving, but you also have an asymmetric, or you have a captain's ability, you can be cursed, as well as you get to shoot 1 cannon 1 time, so you can't use like all 5 of your actions shooting the cannon, right? Because otherwise that's all this game would devolve into. It gives me a little bit of a vibe of one of the other kids games I play with my children right now, Valley of the Vikings, in a slightly different way, because you're doing more moving around here as opposed just moving laterally across the little path that you have. Attacking, picking up these treasure chests. The deluxification version just has metal coins and metal treasure chests, so I don't think there's a whole lot of gameplay difference as well, but we'll scroll down here, you can see the standees and the cardboard. The cardboard's cool. I like the Kraken look. Do you really need this necessarily? You know what? It's a nice aesthetic touch. It's going to get people in from an aesthetic eye candy standpoint, so I can't really argue with it either. A few stretch goals here. We'll see what they got going on. Next one's up at 15,000, so no idea there. The rulebook is like literally 2 pages, and it's just the way it is. There's not a whole lot more to it, and if your rulebook is 2 pages, that's all you need. I just don't know if I'd be willing to pay $25 extra for this, because I don't think it's going to be utilized nearly as much, or it has no functional value like even some of the other ones do. So you get the standard edition, or you wait and get it at retail. But it's funded, it's doing well, and yeah, it's going to cost you $15 ship too. So you're looking at almost $100 for a deluxe edition that's going to get you a little bit of metal extra. So take that for what you will, but Vesuvius Media putting out a good product. Not their first rodeo, 18 campaigns under the belt, so give them a look-see. To Glory! Next up, Gwen Gaming Table by Geek & Son. And this is really weird because it's got almost $300,000. It's maybe going to be the most funded thing of all of the things launching this week, but 193 people, and I've seen these all over the place, right? Like, what's the difference between all these tables? What makes somebody's table different than others? And everything looks generic to me, and I'm sure people are going to let me know in the comment section like what one's better and why one is better, and dimensions and things like that at the same time. Like, I would love one of these. I have no room for it in my house. I would just love to have one of these actually like sit in front of you instead of just like a random black crappy folding table that I do this on a regular basis. But I don't know. I just feel weird about tables on crowdfunding, right? Like, you can't see them first. They have a couple showrooms around the country. There's one in the UK as well. You can go check out firsthand, but like, you either have to be in Wisconsin or LA. And, you know, for me, I want hands-on. I want to be able to look at it. I want to be able to feel it. I want to be able to like see it. And I've just heard a lot of mixed things and people getting a lot of game tables online. Most of the time it's been fine, but every once in a while one pops up or it takes overly long to get it, like 3 years later. And the other irritating thing on a campaign page like this, I was a little tongue twister that I had to say 3 times in order to get it right for the editing, that is that if you go down this page, right, like you can't tell how big this page is, but here, I'm going to scroll for a second while I blab. Where are the prices? 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 Oh, they're finally down here, right? They take that long to get down. And again, it's not a criticism, but like, why isn't that not up at the top? And that's the same reason all these crowdfunding campaigns don't have the prices of the pledge levels at the top, right? They don't want to scare people off. It's going to cost you $1,000. It's going to cost you at least $1,000 if you want to have a play table from that aspect of things. I don't know. I just, for me personally, this is one that I need to have a hands-on thing. You can get all the accoutrements you want to make it, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 if you want, and all the inserts and the add-ons and the desks that they're doing now too. And again, take it for what you will. And I understand why they do it from a business standpoint. And there you go. That's it. That's everything. Check out if you need a new table, I guess. There you go. Legends of Renaissance. I'm going to cover this one really quickly. I was like, oh, wow, this is really doing well. This is really funded. I pulled this one up. I was like, oh, tile-based board games. Okay, cool little picture here. Okay, $13,000 is really good. What? 21 backers? Yeah, I did the math, folks. I did the math. That's $625 per person. What the deuce is going on here? Well, this is all you need to know, though. It's on the page. There's nothing else there. It's a Renaissance-themed board game, months-long immersion in Florence, Italy, members of a homeschool group. Other thing that doesn't make any sense here, you go through the pledge levels, which I did, I added them all up. You're missing about $3,000 in the pledge levels total. So somewhere in all these backers that are spending money that not getting pledge levels, there's just $3,000 floating in there. Also, 2 of the backers, as you can see behind my head, maybe you can't, are actually at the $5,000 pledge level as well. So you have 10 of your $13,000 from 2 people. Crowdfunding. I'm leaving it there. That's all you need to know. Next, this is it. Forges of Ravenshire. I apologize. They sent me an email. They even had Jeremy from Man vs. Meeple give me an endorsement of this might be a game I wanted to check out as a dice worker placement, and I completely screwed the pooch. So anyway, they're on crowdfunding. BA Games. It's funded. So $26,000 already by the time, especially going up against the other market this week. Relatively impressive. What you have is you have 4 rounds or seasons that you're going to be doing, each with 3 phases, so a total of 12 different rounds that you're going to be taking. You want to be a blacksmith that just makes money. Now, the difference in this one is you're going to be going through 2 main phases here. You have a gathering phase where you're going to be taking, on a turn-by-turn basis, one of your dice, going to town, gathering the resources based on the value of the die. The value of the die matters. Then you take a different die, gather more resources based on that, and then you place the one that you just got into your workshop based on the color and run through all of the actions that are in said column of color in the first place. That's what's different about this one. Then you do that 3 times. So then you go into the production phase. The production phase is simultaneous. That's where you're going to be fulfilling contracts, creating things, forging in the forge style of things to earn the money. And then the end of the season, you're going to be getting achievements, refreshing it, and then that is something you're right there. You're going to be doing 4 times. That's it. That's the rule book. I mean, it's definitely looking like a little bit of a lighter dice style worker placement, but it doesn't look any less interesting. And there's definitely a niche for this as well. Like, everything doesn't need to be Wayfarers or Scholars of the South Tigers, right? You get this one, you check it out, and you get a good sense of, okay, what you are going to be getting just that meets the eye. The sweet and short of this is, if you go to the rulebook here, it's only 7 pages, and look, that's it right there. You just saw the whole rulebook right in the page. That's it. Boom. What's the price point here? Where are we getting to the prices? Okay. Worker, Guildhall, Apprentice, so $60. $99 if you want metal deluxifications and wooden resources. That's a little more expensive than I would have expected, this, especially as a little bit of a lighter game, but you know what? It is what it is. This is an indie game, so it's going to happen. Do you want the add-ons? Do you need the add-ons? Probably not, but that's okay. Oh, Cult of the Deep. I didn't realize. I knew that they put out something else that I know. Yeah, they're funded. They're going to see some new stuff here. It looks like they're going with a little bit of actual gameplay content. So this is one that I'd say, okay, hit the remind me button up here and see where it ends up in, 3 weeks? Just under 3 weeks, and see if you want that extras right now, because, yeah, looks interesting. Give it a look-see. Tell them Liege sent you. Next up, we have a relaunch of Kingdoms of Akandia, the Seven Realms, an open world style cooperative adventure game, 1 to 4 players, as you're rolling dice and trying to battle the evils that are out there. It's, almost 50% fun at the time of the filming this. Like I said, this is a relaunch, and we're going to see what else they've got going on here. This is more RPG-esque open world if you're used to that style of things. It's miniature as well as standees, and you can just check it out. There's a bunch of quotes here. They run you through the gameplay. The rulebook is actually a lot shorter than I expected. It's only an 11-page rulebook, but the thing you need to know with this one, and it really seems to be a little bit different in terms of what differences are out there mechanically speaking, is you're going to be using a lot of dice. I mean, you've got your D8s, you've got your D6s. Just with the page here I'm looking up in terms of how you're going through the rounds and what abilities are going to be utilized. It's got a very thematic fantasy feel, but it's also very generic looking in terms of that. I mean, it is kind of, right? I mean, this is very standard generic, nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't stand out right now just from that standpoint, which is why the page actually here looks better, especially with some of the other stuff. Core box, Journey Quest, Deluxe Bundle all in. I mean, again, this is an indie game. This is not a big company, and if you're going to get it, you get it here. But stretch goals are going to be here as well. Let's see. I wish there was a little bit more on the page so far about what the other mechanistic approaches are, apart from it's not a dungeon crawler in an immersive world. And gameplay example right here gives you a little bit more of how you're going to be moving around, going to these areas, using your equipment. But again, it's just a very generic description. So you're really going to have to go back and pull up this rule book to get an example of, okay, how are you starting these chapters? What are the limits that are going to come with it? How are you going to be utilizing the enemies that are going to be moving on these fields as well along with you? The battle system that you're going to be utilizing here, but it's using, again, it's a heavy dice-based system based on abilities that are going to be with cards, as well as calculating dice and hits by total rolls. And so a lot of games are getting away from that nowadays just because people don't seem to like that as much. Again, no judgment. But we're seeing that being a harder and harder condition to get people to like. And so is that the detriment? Is that an issue here? What's the price point, out of curiosity? Early bird here for 72 hours. So by the time you're watching this, that might be almost up. So it's got, $100. It's expensive for what it is. Not inexpensive by any means. So battle system, they run you through the timeline. Again, nothing bad to say about it, but I also, okay, why am I going to get this over other stuff, right? A lot of dice rolling, a lot of standard mechanics. What sets this apart? And I just need to know a little bit more. So check out the rulebook. Again, it's on there. It gives you a good overview of things, but it just still doesn't actually show you, like, okay, what is it going to feel like? And I don't get that from that. So you're going to probably have to watch a video as well. So there you go. Kingdoms of Akandia, the relaunch. Now, again, next up, we're going with Tactigon. Strategy game, simple rules, simple setup, 10 minutes to play, $6,000 funded, almost 100 backers at this point. Well, what do you need to know right now? You've got shaped pieces, meaning that the shape of the piece determines how many movement points they have. And movement points are important because movement points are going to be how you enter and occupy other opponents' pieces' squares. And when you do that, combat occurs. And the thing you need to know is, well, there's a little diagram that runs you through who beats what, right? Like paper, scissors, rock, monkey Spock? No, it's lizard Spock. This runs you through the grid, right, of who gets who captured, both pieces captured, or cannot attack this. And so you have the 4 different pieces, 1, I think 3, 4, and 5. And so it's easy to remember because, 1, it's the circulars, and you have the most of those. Those are like your pawns. And then the triangles move 3 spaces, the squares move 4, and the pentagons move 5. So it makes sense. And if you go over to their website here, great illustration of just the how to play. More of this should be on a lot of pages or linked to it. The rulebook here is straightforward. If I can get off this here for a second and show you this, you either capture the opposing person's 5-piece pentagon, or you end your opponent's turn on both of these gold ones. So that's it. I mean, it's tactical, it's light, it's, strategic as heck, but it's not going to be long. And that's what I mean by light. Yeah, looking like it's something solid. Check it out. It's $39. I mean, yeah, you're going to pay a price point. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more, costly for an abstract style of this game, but this is truly indie, folks. This is truly indie, and this is the stuff that I like talking about on crowdfunding, even if it's not for you. So take that for what you will. Herdvana, the card game, it's a set collection game based on colors and animals, and if you get a certain number, well, you've got your herd and your opponent's herd, and you can put one on theirs, but then they can put one on their own to like steal your own card, and if you get a certain number of the pile to score a certain number of points by the end of the game, you can do some team play. And there's going to be an expansion as well going along with it. There's just a ton of stuff that they run you through the cards and the abilities that are going to be along those lines. I mean, it's got the feeling of like an Unstable Unicorns Casting Shadows vibe. So take that for what you will. I mean, they're going with some milestone unlocks here for some stretch goals. 100,000, woo, going bigger going home there. And that's pretty much what you need to know. They're doing the add-ons, like I mentioned, with some of the other stuff too. So I have nothing else to say about it. Light style, family friendly. That interests you from a set collection standpoint, give it a look-see. Now, 2 things I'm just going to briefly mention. Fighters of Europe, war game, tactically based, flying your airplane around, pure strategy, no luck involved. $70,000. People love this war game stuff. I have no interest, but I like covering it because 70,000 is still very, very impressive. Speaking of Waterloo, I wasn't, but speaking of war games, Waterloo Solitaire, again, $18,000 at the time of filming this, 60 minutes using just a card-based system. It's got a backing here of previous games that are using the similar system, it appears. Run you through how to play. Again, almost $100,000 worth of war games this week launching. So take that for what you will. There you go. Next up, I have no clue how to pronounce it. Orao, we're going with Oint Generation. 1 versus 1 card dueling style game. You're managing resources with a deck building aspect, and you start off with a whole bunch of asymmetric decks that are going to be at your disposal depending on which ones you want, because they're like a 49 card decks individually that you can buy, but you can combine them as well how you want. And the interesting thing, and I had to read through this one to kind of get the sense of it. I mean, there's going to be Kickstarter exclusive decks. They're going to be available. They're all thematically incorporated. Like I said, the 49 cards there, the 1 leader card, the 40 cards, missions and reinforcements, a few expansions that are going along with it, a few individual characters that are all like slightly different thematic incorporations. But the interesting thing here is that when you are playing cards down, right, your cards are going to be shared on the board. There's not like your side of the board and their side of the board, right? You can mix and match about where you're going to play things, it appears. And basically what you want to have is you want to be able to protect your leader. And if you can't protect your leader, that's how you lose. You win if, like it says here, defenseless opposing leader when they have no more reinforcements or they can't draw enough cards from their deck. If you still have resources, you can get shuffled and become your new deck. And playing cards based on the resources and the attack strengths that they have. Battling is straightforward, someone adjacent to you, not diagonal to you. And if you tie, you knock each other out. Otherwise, a winner and loser, right? So a few rules, a few other artwork tidbits, mission tidbits, all of the different types of deck styles that you're going to be going through. And they run you the a la carte, everything that you want to get right here. So take that for what you will, right? But they're each 20 euros, which is not inexpensive for a deck of 50 cards, essentially. So now the Kickstarter ones here are a little bit less, but take that for what you will. So yeah, there you go. That's about all I have to say. And again, they've got some stretch goals here as well. We're going to see Kickstarter exclusive art as well as a playmat and the other art here as well. So the question is this like an add-on then that gets added on if it's like a playmat, or you just get it for free? Oh yeah, add it for free. There you go. So I have no idea. Watch some gameplay with this one. Could be slightly innovative. It reminds me of like a Rockin' Wars from 2 years ago, but it also could be a little bit, depending on how those abilities go, a little bit samey too. It reminds me of like generic Pokemon, the TCG game. So take that for what you will. Orao, I'm mispronouncing it, Point Generation. Next up, actually sent to me by email as a recommendation link to look at, Berserkers by Alone Editions. Now, this is actually a French publisher, a French guy who has put out this game since 2019, subsequent iterations of it, and it has a very solid backing. I mean, $44,000, and I guarantee you've never heard of this one, but that's what you're getting here. Is you're getting a Kickstarter exclusive project. He's done single editions of these games over on crowdfunding, and as you can see, 10 created in the past. So I mean, that's relatively impressive. And if they weren't good, again, you wouldn't be getting 50 grand in a day. So take that for what you will. 10th crowdfunding campaign. It gives me very much vibes of the Kilforth series. And so if you are a solo gamer, you need to be looking at this as a fellow Kilforth-ian, I guess, to see if this appeals to you as much as Kilforth did. Because if it does, really give this one a look-see. It's in French and English, as well as a couple other languages in the rule book, but the main two are going to be that. And essentially what you're going to be doing is you have these gameplay icons that you're going to be activating across many different cards. You're going to be rolling dice and allocating those dice to do 4 actions in 4 separate different action cards that are going to be available to you. You're going to have to be doing King's Requests each game, along with lighting the 8 fires, taking out the 3 Shadow Riders, and staying alive. And so that's what you're going to be doing across a turn-by-turn, round-by-round situation. And it's either you go until you win or you lose. There is no definitive endpoint otherwise in doing it in a certain number of rounds. All the videos are in French, so if you're like me and you're looking at this and going, okay, is this for me? Go read the rulebook. They link to it down below. But you can see here, they've got a little GIF going of, this is what you're placing the dies on, depending on the cards that are available to you, depending on each of the actions on the card, because you have to allocate them per the number that's rolled. And so that's going to be how it is. Now you can seal these Shadow Riders if you're in the right place with one of the beacons lit with your Berserker there. Again, they run you through what the actions are, straightforward in terms of the mechanisms and what you're going to be doing across all of the different actions that are available to you. It goes through a your phase, Shadow Rider phase, and then the orc horde phase, PvE side of things as well. So run you through the assistance that you're going to be getting, the round by round, what's going to be happening, rolling the dice on the bad guy's turn that are different colors that are going to give them different actions based on what they roll. Pedigree's there. It's going to cost you what, like $50 or so? Yeah, take that for what you will. Black Hole, which is another whole game separately as well, completely sold out at this time if you wanted to get them bundled. Now, I don't know if you can get them as add-ons down here, but you can get their previous game called Colossus as well. And I think I actually remember covering Colossus maybe. So there you go. Check it out. Berserkers. Now, last up, AR's Vault. Awaken Realms' Vault. And this is just tabletop adjacent because it's also Awaken Realms. I'm going to talk about it here. $100,000 for D&D dice. That's what this is, folks. This is D&D dice. This is not board game tabletop giving your dice in extra games extra flavor, right? Now, they've got some Etherfields dice. They've got some Tainted Grail dice if you want to have more of the RPG feel, but that's essentially what this is. It gives you things like mood, weather, effects going on, how you want your NPCs, to have their mood be, depending on the scenario if you're the GM, and you're just rolling these dice, and they're giving them numbered size, but they're also saying basically that, it's going to be a little face on the side to tell you what the emotion is. That's kind of what it is. They're giving you other dice as well as additional add-ons here, which again, fine. But I mean, I see those colored dice on Amazon for like $6. So I'm not sure why I'd pay 3 or 4 times that amount right now. But this is the storybook dice that you're looking at right now. 21 immersive. I don't know, dice are ever considered immersive. I'm sorry, but it's not. And they run you through, okay, what you're going to be getting here with the curses, the blessings, the adventures, the weathers, emotion, perception, behavior, all of that stuff, right? You get them all. They look cool. You can sun drop them as well, but it's a lot of money for dice. But I know dice are really popular in crowdfunding. The D&D, the 5e, the tabletop role-playing game is huge on Kickstarter. And so I'm not really surprised it's got $100,000. At the same time, I'm surprised it's got $100,000. So there you go. That's it. That's the freaking roundup for this week. A little bit of everything. Again, some heavy hitters, a little bit of rant and rambling in there as well. Tomorrow I'll have the new winners of the 7K giveaway for Uprising Curse of the Last Emperor because I never heard from the 2 previous ones. And I will blast it again. I also, I feel bad, but, a couple of people were like, well, you didn't announce it widely. You didn't super make it mega known. At the same time, if you're going to enter a giveaway on my channel, I expect you to actually pay attention to when I announce it too. That means you actually have to put a little bit in yourself as well. Anyway, it's fine. So if you're excited to potentially win, check in and tune in tomorrow. That's all I got. Otherwise, I got some reviews I got to get done this weekend. I have a few things coming up. Did you know how bad May is going to be for crowdfunding? And I mean that in the most amazingly freaking fantastic way possible. I think I'm going to put a couple videos out, but that, literally the 3rd week of May is going to have 4 games that are going to break $1 million. I kid you not. 4 games that are going to break $1 million, and it's going to be freaking insane. I don't know why I'm looking down here. I'm looking at some of the stuff I need to get done. Guards of Atlantis 2 is launching next week. That's going to be talked about tomorrow. I'm going to have my review out of that next week. There's something else I'm just completely blanking on that I need to get out next week as well, but I'm forgetting what it is besides Jerusalem here. Those are the 2 that are going to be taking priority. I have about a dozen other videos. I am a dozen videos ahead, and so I'm prioritizing what videos come out. I'm also going to be doing another just last minute final thoughts of the Zombicide White Death because I have had some interesting revelations and thoughts since I've been monitoring the stretch goals because I've actually been backing it this whole time just to kind of see as stuff leaked out and, came out where it would go. So I've got that going on. The winner of last week's poll as well. I'll talk about this more tomorrow, but the one that you guys wanted to see the most in the comment section, I read every single comment from last week. Keep the Heroes Out. Interestingly enough, no one really proposed games that I should buy, like the game of the month that I should buy. So maybe I'll just let the Patreon folks do that. Have them pick something out for that. I'll give them half a dozen options of stuff coming to retail. Also, I need to do the video for the best stuff coming to retail as well this month because there's some decently good names that you should know about. And retail is, not as always as high a ceiling, but it's a very high basement sometimes. So that makes sense. You know what I'm talking about. Don't skip leg day. I did leg day today again. Right? Here's my band-aids in case you missed my band-aids from this past week, right? We got Sky and we got Marshall from Paw Patrol because I broke open blisters and got blisters all at the same time and doing a workout this weekend. By the way, workout this weekend was nasty. I found it the previous weekend. You guys can tune out if you're not paying attention anymore at this point. Most of the people have already clicked the video and closed it, but we got the barbell, right? You get the barbell, I put 10-pound weights on each side, and you're like, Chris, 65 pounds, right? That's not that hard, right? No, 65 pounds, right? Okay. this is where it gets tricky, right? So 65 pounds, you start off with 10 deadlifts, then you do 10 hanging cleans, then you do 10 push presses, then you do 10 lunges with it on your back. Did that 10 times. That's 100 reps of all that stuff. Now, 65 pounds, it's not so much always like a mass strength workout, but boy howdy, does it really work your cardio, like gasping cardio. So take that for what you will. That's all I got. Otherwise, yeah. Again, I have like half a dozen reviews queued up, and I'm just trying to time them with some of the more time-sensitive stuff as well that comes up every week. Like, I wasn't planning on necessarily like having the Elder Scrolls Should You Back out, but then I'm like, the campaign's ending. I don't have any more time to put it out, right? So it doesn't do you any good 2 days after the campaign ends. And things like that. So Battle for Eternia, Dice Manor, Resist is sitting over there. What else we got? Starfighter, I got that one. Sakura Arms, my best of 2022. I hopefully will have that out as one of the videos next week as well. So that's all I got. Enough ramble at the end here. You guys don't want to listen to me talk anyway, so video's gone on long enough. Thanks for watching. Stay classy. Have a great freaking day. Roll Liege. I need a catchphrase. I need a catchphrase, all right? Like, I can't be like the Adam Cole, baby! Although I do like that catchphrase. It works best with the most compatible with, you know, sort of the phrasing that I've got going on. But I don't know. Catchphrases? I even tried Chat GPT, and that's horrible for catchphrases. Just horrible. Maybe good at other things, but not catchphrases. So, that's all I got. Peace out. See you around. I'm working all weekend.